Hi friends, good morning. In this Business Intelligence Master program, this is our fifth session. In this session, we will see how to create your first Azure data factory. Okay. So in this particular session, we will see what is storage account, because before you create Azure data factory and implement the Azure data factory pipelines, why we are going to implement the pipelines? Maybe for copying the data from different storages or for transforming the data which you have in a storage account, right? So but before you implement, do the transformation, moving the data, we need to understand what is this data store, what kind of data I can able to store in the storage account. Okay, so we are going to understand what is storage account. Then we will understand what is file, queue, and a table in storage account. These are the three different options available when you create a storage account. So file for storing the different kind of data, queue for storing the different kind of data, table is for storing the different kind of data. So along with these three, you also will get a something called blob storage when you create a storage account. Now you need to understand how many total options we will get when you create a storage account. Four. One is file, second one is queue, third one is table, and fourth one is blob storage. That is very important. So on this particular service, on this particular option, we are going to focus. So we are going to understand what is blob storage and what are the different types of blob storage. This is one of the interview question, friends. People will ask what is blob storage, what are the different types of blob storages we have. Okay, so this is also very important interview question. Okay, fine, we will discuss that. Then we will see something called storage types. So you have something called storage types. So if you want to save the cost, you need to use these kind of storage types. Okay, what are those storage types? If you store data in different storages, how much you are going to pay? Okay, how the cost is going to vary? So all those things we will discuss. Then we are going to discuss something called storage performance type. So storage performance type means, so you have a different storage performance types. So based on your selection, you will get the performance. Example, you have a standard and premium. If you select standard, you will get normal performance. If you select a premium, you'll get the better performance. Okay, so we will discuss in detail why you will get a better performance when you select the performance, why not in a standard. Okay, next we will see data redundancy. So we were talking about cloud has a lot of advantages. It will store your backup data, like it can have it will maintain the multiple copies. Even due to some disaster, even if you lose one or two copies, still you will have your data, because they are going to maintain multiple copies of the data. So we are going to understand the data redundancy, how they are going to maintain the different, how they are maintaining our data backups. Okay, so in which data centers they are copying the data, and how many copies they are maintaining in each data center. Okay, what are the different options we have under data redundancy, when we need to go for what. So everything we will discuss with respect to the data redundancy. With respect to demo today, we will see how to create storage account. Okay, with respect to demo, we will see how to create storage account. Then we will see upload data into storage account, how you can upload some data into storage account. We will see. Then we will see how you can create Azure Data Factory V2 through the UI by using user interface. How you can create the Azure Data Factory. Then we are also going to see by using PowerShell how you can create the Azure Data Factory V2. But there are different ways: .NET, Python, and other software development kits. That is nothing but SDKs. You can use those SDKs to create this particular ADF. Not only ADF, you can create the storage account as well. So if you want, I can show you how you can create storage account from UI and PowerShell. Okay, so not only this, you can use Python and .NET, other things to create all these things. Okay, so these are the things that we are going to discuss today. Let's start with our storage account. Okay, what is Azure storage? Okay, Microsoft Azure Cloud offers several types of scalable, high available storage. So here we know that Microsoft Azure Cloud. So that is the cloud provider. Microsoft is our cloud provider. He is offering several types of what are those several types of? What are those? Are scalable, high available storages. So they are offering the several types of storages which has scalable and high available features. What is scalable? Anybody know what is scalable? Scalable means, example, I purchased a 1 TB hard disk, but what happens is suddenly I received 2 terabytes of data. So it is very difficult for me to keep the 2 terabytes of data in a 1 TB hard disk. So now what I need to do, I need to purchase the hard disk again. I need to purchase the new hard disk again to store my remaining 1 TB of data. So now what happens is, you don't know your demand. Suddenly demand came, and now you are trying to understand how much hard disk you need to purchase, right? But in cloud, you don't need to worry about all these things. Depends, you just store how much data you have. So depends on how much data you are storing, it will increase the size in the back end. That is nothing but a scalable. It will scale automatically. Okay, next, high available storage. At any point in time, if you want to read the data, that particular data you can able to read. That is nothing but a high available. Your data will be available most of the time, meaning 99.99999%. Very rarely you may not be able to access the data due to some internal issues. Okay, but 99.99999% you can able to access the data at any time, meaning it's highly available and scalable. Scalable means unlimited data you can able to store. But how you are going to store this data? You can store data in a tables, you can store data in a queues, you can store a data in files and blobs. So what is table? Table means if you have a structured data, you need to store it in a table. Okay, if you don't know what is table, don't worry, we will discuss in detail how to create table, how to insert records into the table. In detail we will discuss next. Queues means messaging service. So you are keep on sending some messages. Okay, so you are sending some messages. Those messages you want to like send it to some other service. Before sending it to the other service, you want to use some staging layer to keep these particular messages in queue. Okay, I don't want to lose any message, so I want to queue all these messages so that I can send one by one. You can tell when this message has to delete, maybe after 7 days, something like that, you can able to set it. Okay, this is the messaging service. Next, files means suppose we have some files in cloud, you have some files in on-premise, you want to share files from on-premise to cloud, cloud to on-premise through the network, then you have to use the files. Okay, blobs is basically to store all your kind of a movies, videos, audios, okay, images, any binary data or text data. If you want to store, you need to go with the blob storage. Okay, so we will discuss in detail, but this is the overview on what is Azure storage. Okay, now, so why Azure storage? What are the different things you will get it if you select Azure storage? It's a durable. Durable means Microsoft will handle hardware failures. Suppose if at all what you have stored some data in hard disk, now that particular hard disk is failed, so now you cannot able to retrieve the data. But don't worry, Microsoft will handle such type of things and make sure that your data you can able to retrieve it back. Okay, that is nothing but durable. So whatever data you are storing in the storage account, that is secure. Secure means whatever data you are storing, that is encrypted. You no need to worry about my data, whether it's a secure or not. I have my bank details, some other details. You no need to worry. All your details will be encrypted, so your data will be secure. Scalable. It can handle petabytes of data. So as we discussed, you can keep as much data as you have. It will scale automatically. Next, managed. Who will manage all these things? Microsoft will manage for you while you pay for what you use. Okay, you are going to pay for what you are using, but Microsoft is going to manage all these storages. Access. We can access the storage using APIs, SDK, software development kits. Okay, application programming interface or SDKs you can use to access these particular files. Okay, any questions in this particular slide?
Yeah.
Any question? Yeah,
Yes.
tell me.
Is scalability and high availability is taken care by the developers, or usually like DBAs will
No,
take care?
you don't need to take care of anything. Cloud provider will take care of everything. See,
Okay,
cloud
because
is allowing you to focus on your business instead of focusing on your infrastructure. So that's why the scaling, availability, failure, handling the failure scenarios, everything they will take care. You just focus on your business. So if you are whatever you expected in your business, if you're not reaching, so what are the other decisions that you need to take in care to keep your business in track, right? So those things you need to focus instead of focusing on the infrastructure. Yeah, go on, Morley.
Yeah. So high availability generally it's like maintaining a copy of the data, right? If let's say if one your primary server is down or secondary will come up. So in this case, like this totally taken care by the Microsoft, making the which one is a primary or secondary node. So everything was
Yes,
taken care by Microsoft. Okay.
exactly. So that will be done automatically. Okay, automatically. If one availability zone, one copy is not available, you will serve from the another copy of data. Okay, clear, Murali?
Yeah. Thank you.
Any other questions, friends? Okay, if no questions, let me move on. Azure storage. So now, as we discussed just now, under this Azure storage, you see you will have a file, queue, table, and block. So as we discussed, file is for the sharing the files between on-premise and cloud, and queue is for the messaging service. See here, you can see some messaging service. If you want to send any messages, you are going to use the queue. Table is basically to store your structured data. Blob is for storing your unstructured data, such as uh, images, audios, videos. Okay, any type of file. It can be CSV, Parquet, XML, anything. Okay, you can upload any type of files as well into the blob storage. Okay, so next, storage account overview. Here you see file storage. I just discussed. It's managed file share for cloud or on-premise deployment. So if you want to move the data like files from on-premise to cloud or cloud to on-premise, you can use the file storage. Next, storage queue, a messaging store for reliable messaging between the application components. Next, table storage, NoSQL store for schemaless storage of structured data. Here, uh, basically, you no need to maintain the structure. Okay, so you can maintain the structured data, no restriction in it. But you can also store your unstructured. It's not unstructured, but there is a structure. The number of columns will be vary because let's say first customer is provided his name and his phone number. Second customer is providing his name and his location. He is not providing phone number. So now first customer is provided two details, second customer provided two details, but both are not in sync. He is provided different details, he provided different details, but you can able to store all this data in this table storage. That's why NoSQL. You no need to follow exact structure, but you can keep all the records. You don't worry. When we discuss about Cosmos DB, I will discuss in detail. Okay, in upcoming sessions we will discuss about. Next, Azure blob storage. So first we need to understand this is very important. We will completely focus on blob storage because we are going to use only blob storage. Okay, but other things I will show you. Okay, blob is an acronym and means binary large object. What it means? See, BLOB. It's a binary large object. Next, binary large object means you can able to store the large objects of binary. Binary means it can be audio, video, anything, images. So all those binaries, large objects you can able to store. Example, you have a 3 hours movie, you can able to upload it into the blob storage. Okay, large objects, binary large objects you can maintain in the blob. Next, blob is scalable object storage for text and binary. We discussed it says scalable. Next, so use cases in real time, whatever I came across, so I am just giving here. So we have used blob for the staging layer. Okay, I'm not sure how many of you know when we are loading data from any storage to the Azure Synapse, we are going to use something called Polybase for getting the high throughput. Okay, to store like to transfer data quickly, we need to use a staging layer. Or before you send data into the reporting, we will store data in a staging layer. From there, we will read data and we will do some kind of a data quality checks, data transformation, then we will do. So for all these purpose, you can use this blob. Next, temporary storage. So a staging layer or temporary storage. Here, staging layer means I was thinking about when you are loading data into Azure Synapse for using the Polybase, you can say it's a staging layer. Temporary storage means you want to store some file next few days, maybe 1 week. later I don't want this particular file, okay, then you can able to store, and you have some metadata, okay, maybe this is temporary metadata or permanent metadata, doesn't matter, you can able to store it in your blob storage. Next, storing data for backups and restore, disaster recovery and archiving. You need to take some data backup. Okay, why you need to take the backup of your data? Because in case of disasters, some cyclone came and entire data center is gone, so I need to have my data back. I should be able to restore my data back, right? So for that we need to maintain a backup. So for maintaining backups you can use the blob. Next, you want to stream your videos and audios live, okay, so for that you can able to stream these particular videos, audios from the blob storage. Next, you can serve images, documents directly to a browser. Suppose you uploaded some documents and images into your blob storage, your friend requested for some image, then you can share URL. So if your friend is hitted that URL, you can able to download that particular image directly from the browser. Okay, so for all these use cases you can use the blob storage. Okay, any questions here? Any questions, friends, here? Okay, no questions, let me move.
Yeah, Malay, just got confused about the staging layer and then this temporary storage. Can you just repeat it once?
See, staging layer means, so staging layer will not appear for you, because example, when I am loading data, okay, when I am loading data from blob storage to Azure Synapse, we need to use something called staging layer for writing data into the staging. Once we write data into that staging layer, from there data will be loaded into your Azure Synapse by using high throughput, meaning very quickly you can able to load data into the Azure Synapse. So there is a staging layer we need to give when we are loading data into the Azure Synapse, so that you will see, then you can able to understand. But the staging layer, if you go and see into that staging layer, whether you have data or not, you will not able to see any data. But you are using like when I am moving data from, basically I am getting the data from on-premise to the cloud. Okay, I got the data into the cloud and I need to store this data temporarily somewhere. So why I need to store this data temporarily here? Because before I process and load it into the Azure Synapse, I need to store data somewhere temporarily, because my ultimate goal is I need to load data into Azure Synapse. But now temporarily I need to keep this data in some storage for doing data quality checks and data transformation. So then you need to use the temporary storage. In temporary storage, you will be able to see the data. In staging layer, you are going to use, but you will not be able to see the data. So you will see all those things practically. Okay, Parmesh, clear?
Yeah, got it. Thank you.
Can we save
Hi,
tables
sir.
in storage?
Yeah, I'm Murli.
Yeah, tell me, Murli.
Hello. So, whenever we are, so if you paid money for 1 terabyte for our storing data purpose, whenever we increase that one, means we crossed that 1 TB to 2 TB, so we have to pay again for that money for them to cloud, or it will be freely available.
No, just imagine. So you have
Okay.
purchased 1 TB of hard disk, and now that is not enough. You are going to purchase, or you are just getting for free? You need to purchase.
So,
Okay, remember, you need to
yeah, I
purchase.
have to. Yeah.
Can
But
we
it
save
is it is cloud side, right? That's why we got this doubt.
cloud storage? Cloud is just allowing you to focus on business instead of focusing on your storage and backups, security, okay, all these things. But they are not going to provide you for free, because
Okay.
they need to maintain a lot of infrastructure. They need to maintain a lot of employees for maintaining all these things. Okay.
Yeah, understood. Thank you.
Next, Shiva is asking, can we save tables in blob storage? So tables directly you cannot store, but tables data you can convert into some file and you can load it. If you want to save tables data, you can use the tables option. Okay, Shiva?
Okay, Malya.
Okay. Let me move on now. So Azure Blob Storage. Okay. See here, we talked about files, tables, queues. So data lake storage Gen 1 we will discuss in some time. But within this blob storage, you see you have a page blob, you have blob, you have a append blob. As I said, so blob storages there are three types of blobs. One is page blob, second one is block blob, third one is append blob. So here itself you can able to understand. Here you can see some videos and audio files you can upload into block blob. Append blob basically for log, you have application log. What application log will do? Suppose some X person access the Flipkart website, and in the back end it will say X person logged in, X person searched for this product, X person tried to place a order this particular product, and Y person logged in just now and he is searching for this product. So all those logs will be added, will come in the back end. Now this append blob, what is the append? Append means for the existing data you need to add the new data. Okay, so in which case we will add the new data to the existing data? Logs. So X person logged in into the application, you got the logs. When Y person logged in into your application, you need to add those logs also to the existing logs. So append blobs you need to use for the logs. Okay, but I will discuss in detail. Next, block blobs for the audios, videos, all this. Page blobs basically for reading data. Like every time I want to read some data, every time I want to write some data, every time you are trying to modify, then you need to go with the page blob. Okay, for reading and writing frequently, your goal is to read some files or write some files. Like write means to modify some files, then you need to go for the page blob. Don't worry, I have a in detail explanation in this. Let's go with page blob blob. So what is blob blob is, let's imagine you are trying to upload a movie. When you are trying to upload a movie, what happens is that movie is you are uploading into block blob. This movie will be divided into sub blocks, one block. Okay, so each block size is 4 MB. Okay, each block size is 4 MB. Now your entire file will be divided into some sub blocks. Now entire movie, when you can say entire movie is uploaded is when you, so you have, let's imagine we have 120 MB movie that particular movie file size is 120 MB. Now if you divide 120 MB by 4, you will get 30 blocks. So this particular movie file will be uploaded into 30 blocks. Okay, if any block upload is failed, this entire file upload will fail. If all the blocks uploaded successfully, then only your entire file you can say it's uploaded successfully. Now you need to understand, can we change any one block? Can you tell me, is it possible to change at least one block? I don't want to touch all the blocks, but I want to modify one block. Is it possible? No, because you don't know how the data is break into the blocks, and whatever you plan to modify, that particular part is available in which block, you don't know. That's why what you need to do, you need to modify the block and you need to re-upload that entire file again. Yes, here when you store a file in blob, that means that it arrives on a storage in small parts. That 120 MB movie file will come into a small parts, and only after you complete the upload, the file or blob puts itself together in one place. So once you completely upload all these blocks, then only that entire file will be put together to show as a single piece or one piece. With that architecture, file cannot be modified without a complete re-upload. So if you want to modify any part of that particular file, you need to completely re-upload the file after you making the changes. This is the most basic and cheapest way to store your files in Azure. Okay, next. So you can access the files which are uploaded, okay, but cannot change them inside the storage. You cannot change them once you upload it. Okay, once you upload data will be there in the storage, you cannot modify the data. Thus, block blobs are ideal for backups and storing user files. So once you take a backup, you are not going to modify, just you are maintaining. In case of failures, you need to take this data. So for backups and storing user, like for storing user files, you can use the block blobs. Okay, next. So good for file storage. For storing the files, you can go with the block blob, and it has a capability of storing the single file size which has 4.77 TB. Okay, you can upload a movie which has movie file which has 4.77 TB. So up to this much size you can able to upload into the block. Next, append block. So here we are not modifying anything. Okay, even though you uploaded previously half movie, now I want to upload the remaining half movie, that is not possible with the block. But with append block that is possible. So good for storing logs or metadata, you need to update constantly, right? So metadata we will maintain. I need to like example, customer asked you to transform 100 tables or copy 100 tables. You will copy 100 tables. Later customer will come to you and tell, hey, we added 2 more tables, can you add those 2 tables? You need to add the metadata. In the same way, logs, I explained the logs. So logs will keep on adding to the existing data. So in these two cases, you can go with the append blocks. Even example, so same movie, if you consider half movie uploaded, you uploaded now. Later, if you want to upload half movie, that is possible. You can able to do that. So now both half files will be put together to show as a single file. That is possible in append block. But same thing, if you do it in a blob, what it will do? So first half movie will be shown it as a different file. Second half movie, it will shown it as a different file. Okay, next, you cannot change the blob without re-uploading. See, here I'm talking about blob. You cannot change the blob without re-uploading. If you're not re-uploading, you cannot do it. However, there are situations when you need to update the file on a regular basis. I need to update the file on regular basis, such as logs file or metadata file. Append blobs were created just for that particular purpose. They are structured in such a way that so that users can upload parts of the files from the end. So they can able to upload the part by part instead of uploading entire file at once. So you first upload half movie, then you upload remaining half movie. Okay, next, page block. So these are optimized for random read and write operations, can grow up to 8 TB in size. So you can able to read the files which has a 8 TB size. Okay, you can read and you can modify that entire. Here you are just adding the one more block. So in append block, one block you uploaded, then you are adding one more block. You're just appending one more block. Now you want to modify all the blocks at once. So that is not possible even in the append block. So for modifying all the blocks, you need to go with the page block. Okay, any questions?
Malay, what is the size of append blocks? How much it can?
So here there is no limit actually. So you can go up to 500 terabytes.
Okay, one more. Suppose if you have stored in block some data, again we need to append. So at that time it is possible to change that before
Yeah. So in that case,
store data to append block.
so last you modified your question. What you were saying? Can you come again?
Suppose we stored in block some data,
Hmm.
we need to append again to that data again.
Hmm.
So at that time we can possible to change before we store the data. No, to append block it is possible to change.
See, you are like combining these two. I'm not able to understand. So you uploaded file into block. Then if you want to append, it is not possible. If you want to modify that, it is not possible. Only the way what you can do is you just in local you modify that particular file and you re-upload complete file into block. That is possible. But when you come to append a block, you just can send the modified file. Like you can upload the modified part. Only that particular modified part you can able to append to the block.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions, friends? Fine. So let me move.
Malay, can you just explain one more page blocks?
What?
Page
What
blocks.
is not clear, Murli? Page blob. So
That's,
page
yeah,
blob, as I said, we were talking about multiple blocks of the blob, right? So if you want to modify all the blocks, okay, that is not possible even blob or append blob. So that you can do it in a page blob. And the page blob is mainly used for the reading and writing operations. Okay, you are frequently want to read the file which you have stored in a blob storage, then you can go with the page blob. Okay, next frequently you want to modify, then you can go with the page blobs.
yeah,
Okay,
understood.
clear
Yes,
friends? Okay,
Malaya, thank you. Yeah.
we move on. Azure Blob Storage Containers. Here you see when you create a account, let's say I have created my storage account. In this, you are going to create something called containers. It's kind of a folders. Okay, let's say if I created a container called photos, in this container, I can able to store the related content. If I create another container called movies, I can able to store my movies. Now, these images or movies, where these movies images you want to store, when you are uploading itself you have to tell whether you want in a blog or page or like a pen, right? So that kind of metadata it will store it here. So whether this file is available in blog blob or page blob, whether it is available in blog blob or page blob, something like that, it will keep all the metadata information here. Okay, this is the next. Blob storage accounts offer three types of types. So first thing is when you're storing the data, you have a different options. Hot access type. If you say I want to store all my data in hot access type, okay, this is the, so it's nothing but you are saying I'm going to access my data very frequently. Hot access type means you are saying I want to access data very frequently. Okay, see, out of three options, the hot access style is the most optimized for data that is accessed frequently. This hot access style we are going to use for accessing data frequently. Example, I have, let's say, what you can do is we have some file which is you are going to verify daily, something like that. Example, let's go with your daily task. Okay, so you need to check what is the daily task. Okay, that particular file you need to verify every day. So meaning that particular file is accessed very frequently, every day once at least you are accessing. Then such type of files you need to store it in a hot access type. Okay, it offers the lowest access cost. So for accessing data it will be cheap, but for highest you need to make a more payment for storing the data. Okay, there are only two differences in all the types. One is you need to focus on why you are going to use this particular type, and in which case the price is high, in which case the price is low. Only these 3 points we need to focus. Hot access type you need to use for frequently accessed data to store frequently accessed data. Second point, it is very high cost when you are storing the data. Okay, if you store data it is very costly, but for accessing the data it is very less. For accessing data it is very less. Let's go to cool access time. Here this is mainly for infrequent access. I'm not going to access my data frequently. Okay, example, you have some file which is having some hikes, so you want to understand, so last time when you received the hike, so maybe very rarely you want to access that particular file or you want to download some pay slips. Okay, these are some examples I am giving. Okay, so cool access type is basically for the infrequent access. You are not going to access the data very frequently. Very rarely you are going to access data. Second thing, for accessing data it is very high, but for storing data the cost is low. See now, this option is better suited for use cases where data will remain stored for at least 30 days and is not accessed frequently And compared to hot access tier, this tier offers low storage cost and higher access cost. Okay, simple friends. you have a lot of data. That data you are not going to use, you are not going to access you are not going to access frequently. Very rarely you are going to access, but you have a lot of data. So which storage you will select? The storage cost is very less in cool access type, and anyhow you are going to access very rarely, then you need to go with the cool access type. We have a very small data, but that data you are going to access very frequently. Then for storage cost is high. Even though you have less, the storage cost is high, but the access cost is low. Meaning, uh, how many times you are accessing that data doesn't matter. The cost is going to be low for accessing. Next, we have a something called archive. Archive access type is nothing but you have huge data. Instead of storing that huge data as it is, you can just archive it and store it. This archived data is also, I requested everybody, please be in mute, friends. Okay, so archive access type is nothing but, so you are going to archive this entire data and you will store it in your storage. Now this archived data you are not going to access frequently, very rarely. That's why what you are doing is, so anyhow I'm not going to access this data, let me archive it and store it in a storage. So if you archive, the size will reduce. So anyhow the storage cost is very less in this archive access type. You see, this archive storage is designed for data that does not need to be accessed immediately. You are not going to access data immediately or frequently. This tier offers higher data retrieval cost, meaning if you want to access the data, cost is very high, higher data retrieval cost, but also higher data access latency. So meaning higher data access latency means if you want to access data which is there in archived access tier, it will take more time for you because it is archived. You need to unzip something like that, then you need to get it right. That's why it will take higher data access latency. Latency is nothing but the time it will take to give you the response. So it's high. High means more time it will take to give the response. It is designed for use case where data will be stored for more than 180 days and is rarely accessed. You are not going to access data frequently, you are going to access data very rarely, and at least 180 days you are not going to touch this data. Okay, so in that case you can go and store your data in archive access type. Okay, any questions in this?
Can we change
Okay.
the Malay, can we change the at later point of time? Let's say when creating the account, I choose the hot access type, and once after some point of time, if I want to change it to cool access, can I do it?
That is not possible. That is not possible. Okay, when you are creating the storage account itself, you need to tell whether you want it in a hot access tier or you want it in a cool access tier. I will show you when we are creating that option. You cannot modify this option later.
Okay.
Okay, so your question is valid. What you can do is, if you have some scenario where some files you are going to access frequently, some files you are not going to access frequently, then you can create two different storages. One is with hot access tier, one with cool access tier, and respective files you can upload it into the respective storage account. Clear, Murli?
Yeah, because in real time, right? Generally, we'll move the data of some point of time to the archives later.
Right.
So that's
Right.
why I asked. Yeah.
In AWS S3, we have something called life cycle. We can tell first initially I will keep data here. If the data is not accessible for about next 30 days, all those files you can move it to the some other like infrequent class. So from there you can move it into the Glacier. So something like that you can able to put it in AWS S3. But here we don't have life cycle policies, but those make we can able to see next 1 year.
Okay.
Fine. So no other questions, right? Any other questions, friends? Okay, let me move on. Storage performance type. So how many of you know HDD and SSD? How many of you know HDD? Hard disk drive, solid state drives. So these are the back-end drives, right? So which supports, SSDs will give you better performance and there is no moving part in a SSDs. But HDDs, these are the hard disk drives, will have a moving part. Okay, and in terms of access and performance, these will not give you much performance. Okay, this will not give you better performance. So remember, standard performance means here we are going to use HDD, hard disk drive. That's why these are very slow. But if you go with premium storage performance, here we are going to use something called SSD, solid state drive. You can see solid state drives we will use here. So if you use SSDs, the performance is, you will get very high performance, low latency. Low latency means the response time is very low. Okay, low latency performance. So the response time is very low. It means you are going to get a better performance. Okay. They can only be used with Azure Virtual Machine Disk and are best for IO intensive workloads such as the databases. So for database, if you want to maintain some databases and all those things, you can go with the premium storage performance. Okay. So tables, we talked about tables and all those things, right? So tables also you can able to create in your storage account. So if you want to create some kind of tables and store data in all those cases, wherever you want a better performance in terms of accessing, okay, and storing, you can go with the premium storage. But in premium storage, you will get the solid state drive. But in standard performance, you'll get the HDDs. You can see this tire is backed by magnetic drives and provide low cost per GB. The cost is less, but performance impact will be there. See, they are best for applications that are best for bulk storage or infrequent access data. You are not going to access data frequently. Then you need to go with the standard performance. Premium storage performance will get a better performance, and backend drives are solid state drives. Okay, clear? Any doubts here? When you are purchasing your laptop, right, you will check, right, whether it's a SSD, whether it's a HDD, right? So SSDs will give better performance. Okay, I hope everybody know there is no moving part in it. Okay, any questions? Murli, Parmesh, Sudhir, rest of the people, please respond, friends. Any questions? Please respond or chat window at least. If no questions, let me move on. So data redundancy. Now we are going with the data copies. Okay, Azure storage replicates multiple copies of your data. It is going to maintain a multiple copies of your data. So available replication options for your storage account is local redundant storage, zone redundant storage, geo redundant storage, read access geo redundant storage, and there are few more options which are in a preview mode. Those also will be in place after within some time. Okay, but currently these four are the available replications. Okay, so we will see one by one. What is LRS? It's a local. So local means all your 3 copies of data will be there at a single physical location. Okay, it's nothing but a single data center. It's nothing but a single availability zone. Let me show you. See here, you upload a file into the blob storage. Here we have a storage scale unit. So it's nothing but a one availability zone. So in this particular availability zone, you will have 3 copies of data. Okay, you will have a 3 copies of data. If you are not able to access 1 copy of data due to some reason, 1 copy of data is gone, you will have a other copies of data. Okay, clear? Okay, friends. This is the local redundancy. Local redundancy means in a single availability zone, you will have 3 copies. Even if you lose 1 copy, you will have a other 2 copies. Let's go with zone redundant storage. In zone redundant storage, you see here, so you have a 3 availability zone, meaning one availability zone is nothing but a separate hard disk, separate power supply, separate cooling system, separate kind of a security. Okay, so you, instead of storing your data, your copies in a single availability zone. Okay, now what you are doing, 1 copy in one availability zone, another copy in another availability zone, another copy in another availability zone. Each availability zone is separated with separate hard disk, power supply, cooling system, security, everything. So even if these 2 availability centers are gone, you will have another availability zone to give you the file. to give you the data. But the cost is very high if you select the zone redundant storage, because your data is located in a 3 different availability zones. For the when you have sensitive data, you at any time you don't want to lose the data, then you need to go for the zone redundancy storage. Okay, clear? These two are, what is the difference between local redundant storage and zone redundant storage? Both, everybody's clear?
Yes, sir. Understood.
Okay. Siriam, I hope you are clear on that, right? So hot, cool, and archive. Hot is for the frequent access, cool is for infrequent access, archive is for so this is also for infrequent access. I hope, are you clear, Sriram? You just placed.
Yeah, yes, Maria. Yes.
Okay, fine. So geo redundant storage. Let's see here. Here you see you have a separate availability zone, separate availability zone. Both are in a different data centers. Both are different data center. Here maybe this availability zone is in India, this availability zone in the US. Okay, these two are not in India. This is in India, this is in US. Now when you upload a file into blob storage, this data will have a 3 copies in this availability zone. Along with that, same 3 copies will be there in another availability zone in another data center. Okay, total you will have a 6 copies of data in your geo redundant storage. Okay, 6 copies of data. But you need to think here, whatever data you have here, okay, this data you cannot read it, because just you are maintaining the backup. If you select geo redundant storage, you can maintain the copies in another data center. Here also you can maintain 3 copies, here you can maintain 3 copies, but you cannot access these 3 copies of data here. Only you can able to access these 3 copies of data. In case of disaster, if you lose this, then data will be copied into here from this particular availability zone, because here we have these 3 backup files. Now if you go to the next one, read access geo redundancy. See, only the difference is you have these 3 copies. For these 3 copies also you can able to read it. That is the 4th option. That is nothing but read access geo redundant storage. Okay, now, okay, as of now, any questions? As of now, any questions, friends? Okay, no questions, fine.
If one copy is storing 3 times, we can lose our storage, right? Some other storage.
Huh?
If
What,
the
Murli?
one copy we are storing, if one copy is storing, the storage is 3 copies it will take. So we have to lose some storage, right?
What storage you are losing? Your question is not clear, Murli. Can you reframe?
If you store one file, it is storing
Okay.
like 3 files.
No, same file, 3
Mm.
copies of data. 3 copies we are
Okay.
maintaining. Okay, because
That is not cost to any other our storage.
What, Murli?
That is any cost to our storage, right?
Yeah, so because based on your redundancy option, you need to make a payment. We discussed local redundancy, zone redundancy. Zone redundancy is like little bit higher cost than the local redundancy. Okay, the cost will vary, but depends on your option.
What is my exact point is that is not affect in any of our storage.
What is meant by effect? What kind of effect you are
Means
talking?
so if you are storing 1 MB file, it will storing 3 copies. It will not take 3 MB storage, right?
Okay, yeah, it is not going to consider 3 MB. It is going to consider 1
Okay.
MB. 3 different.
That is my exact point.
Next. Now you see, friends, so this is the overview diagram. Here you can see when we are creating our Azure storage account, you need to select either, first you need to focus on this. You need to select either standard or premium performance tier. So when you select standard, so what all options are available? General purpose V2 you can create, or blob storage you can create, and general purpose v1 storage you can create. Okay, first option. If you go with premium, you will see general purpose v2 you can create, general purpose v1 you can create, blob storage you can create, file storage you can create. Okay, now let's go with next one. When you go with general purpose v2, what all things will create in backend is blob will be available, file option will be available, queue option will be available, table option will be available, disk option will be available, data lake storage gen 2 option will be available. But we have not discussed about data lake storage gen 2. We will discuss about that later, because that is another storage which we have in our Microsoft Azure. Next, if you select general purpose v1, here we don't have a data lake storage gen 2 will not be available here. Remaining things are available. If you go with the blob storage, only blob will be available. File, queue, tables will not come. If you go with file storage, only you will get files. If you go with the blob storage, you will get only blob here also. But only the difference between blob storage and blob storage is it's a premium. This one is standard. Next. So see, supported access types. So here there is no access type option. Only you can store this. When you can use this access types is when you are going with the general purpose v2 or when you are going with the blob storage. Okay, next, when you go with the general purpose v2, so you have a lot of options: LRS, GRS, RAGRS, ZRS, and GZRS preview, RAGZRS are preview. So that's why I have not discussed about these things. Next, we discussed about LRS, ZRS, and GRS. Sorry, GRS. Okay. So geo redundancy storage, local redundancy storage. Here, local redundancy storage, zone redundancy storage. So based on option, you will have what kind of replications you can use. If you go with general purpose v2, all options are available. If you go with general purpose v1, you have only local redundancy, geo redundancy, read access, geo redundancy storage, but you don't have zone redundancy. Okay, see, in premium you have a zone redundancy, local redundancy, but you don't have a geo redundancy. So you need to, this particular diagram is very important. So if you understand this diagram, you can able to create any storage. Okay, now, okay, these are the slides I have. Let me show you how you can create the storage account. So we already talked about what is subscription, what is resource group, and then we talked about what is region. Okay, so I'm going to show you each and everything now. Let me log in into my portal.azure.com. Okay, let's click on storage accounts. Okay, so first thing is on that day we don't have time to explain this portal overview, right? Just so today class I'm just extending 10 more minutes. Okay, see, this is the profile. Here you can see if you want to sign out, you can sign out. You can see your username. Okay, you have multiple directories, meaning we have multiple accounts which are associated with this particular mail ID. You can switch to that particular another account. Okay, next, you can see here this is basically a feedback option. Suppose if you want to send some kind of feedback to Microsoft, you can send it. This is a help. So if you want to debug on something or some documentation, if you want, you can do that. Or you have some issue in your Azure portal in real time, you need to raise a support request to the Microsoft. You can click help plus support. So let's click on help plus support. You see, you can create a new support request. So meaning you can create some kind of a support request to support you to fix the issues. Microsoft team will reach out to you to understand your issue and to fix the issue. Next, this is settings. Settings is basically if you want to change this color, background color or something. See, if you want to change something, you can able to change, and other things you can able to change here. Okay, some kind of a settings we have. Next, this is notification. I want to understand how much money is remaining. So you don't need to worry. Daily when you log in, within a minute it will notify you saying that this much credit is remaining. And when you launch any service, you deployed any service, you are creating any service, that service status it will show here in notification, everything. Next, this is the place where you are going to use directory plus subscription. As we discussed just now, right? If you want to change it to the another account, so it will show please move to this account. So as I have only one account, so it is showing one account, but if you have multiple directories, it will allow you to move between those directories. Next, if you want to execute PowerShell script, so today we are going to see how to execute PowerShell, right? Let's say I want to execute PowerShell script, then you have to click on this, and here you can execute two types of script, bash script and a PowerShell script. So you can see here, this is, let's close this. Oh, sorry, you need a small storage to maintain some metadata and ARM template. See here, bash script key. You can click create storage. So small storage, it's nothing but blob storage, it will create automatically. So I clicked create, right? So it will create a blob storage now. So let's check now. You don't have any blob storage, but it will create now. You see 0 to 0 options, or if you want to see, you can see you don't have any storage account, but I just clicked create storage, it will create storage for you. You see here you have a PowerShell and bash script. You can use any of this scripting. I will use PowerShell today. Next, okay, storage will come in some time. It is not refreshed, but it will come. Next, you click on this to see, okay, this is a bar where you can search for particular service. I want to search for data factory. Okay, you can search for data factory, so you will get it. I want machine learning studio, you can search for machine learning studio. You see here. Okay. Next, you want Azure logic app. Okay, something I think logic apps. See logic apps you want. Okay, you want Azure keyword. So keyword. The keyword service can something like that. If you want any service, you can directly search it here. Otherwise, click on this and you can see create resource. If you want to create any resource, home dashboard. So these all are normal options. You can click on all services to all the services which are available in Azure. So you see all these services. If you click all services, it will show all the services which are available in your portal. See all the services. Now I want to go category wise. We are mainly focusing on analytics. Click on analytics. You see data factory, Azure Databricks, data lake storage Gen 1. Okay, you have event ops, data lake analytics, HD Insight, Azure Synops. Okay, most of these things we are going to cover, right? So all these options, let's say I want to go with storage. You can see storage account. I want to go with virtual machine, see compute. Okay, databases. If you go to database, SQL database, all these things. AI plus machine learning, you go machine learning studio, all those things you can able to use here. Okay, so based on category, if you want to identify, you can identify. Fine. Now you see here, I have data factory, Databricks. But now what I want is my machine learning studio I'm going to use frequently. This is basically favorite list. In this favorite list, all the resources which are using frequently will be available. Let's say this machine learning studio I want to use frequently, then I want to bring this service here so that I can quickly click on that, right? So how you can bring that is click here, select this particular option, machine learning studio. Keep your cursor on that. Oh, the option is not coming. Just select that. 1 second. 1 second. Analytics. Let's refresh this. So that particular pop should come. The pop-up is not coming, just refresh it. Now let's go to analytics. See now, this pop-up is coming. You just click on this star. In the same way, just go to AI plus machine learning. Now you see pop-up came. Now you need to just click on this star. So when you click on that star, it's nothing but a favorite. Now you see Azure Machine Learning Studio came. So bot service, I want to mark it as my favorite. So keep your cursor here, it will come. Just click on this star. That will come in your favorite list, bot service. Okay. Now in today's session, we will completely focus on our storage account and ADO. Let's see how to create storage account. Click on storage accounts. Okay, 5 more minutes, friends. See, this storage, it's created for the PowerShell. Okay, we have not created it. As I said, it's created for the PowerShell. Let's create our own storage. Click add. to create the storage account. Here you see it's a free trial. We know the subscription and we know the resource group. I need to create the resource group. Click create new resource group. Here resource group, what I will do is cloud funded BI master program. Click OK. Now come down, storage account name. So storage account name I can say cloud funded lab storage. Okay. So in which region? We know the region, right? Region we know, right? So you can select the nearest one. Let's say the nearest one for me is India. I am in India, so I can search with India. What all data centers are there in India? You can see South India, West India, Central India. I am in South India. You just select South India. Okay. Next. So we talked about standard and premium. Standard means HDDs. Premium means SSDs. So if you click on premium, you will have, see what all options are available. Storage V2, storage V1. Only these two options available. If you go to storage standard, you see storage general purpose V1, blob storage, storage V2, all these things are available. Okay. Next. So if you want, let me show you with clearly. So in this diagram, let's see friends, I selected standard. When you selected standard, what all options should be available? V1, V2, blob. V1, V2, blob. Now you see I selected standard, you see V1, V2, blob is available. Now let's go to premium. When I go to premium, what all things should be available? 1, 2, 3, 4. Total these 4 should be available. Now you see why you are getting these two, because the reason is based on the some data center may not be there all the options. So if you go with east to west, you will have all the options because this is the main data center for your Microsoft. You see when I select east to west, immediately I'm able to see the 4 options: blob, file storage, general purpose V1. These 4 things are available. Premium, all these 4 options are available. But why I selected South India? Because that is nearest to me. But if you want all the features of the Azure, if you want to use, you need to select always east to west, because that is the main data center for your Microsoft. Now we have seen all these things. In standard also we are able to see 3. In premium we are able to see 4. Now in standard I will select blob storage. Okay. Now you see what all options it is showing: local redundancy, geo redundancy, read access, geo redundancy. You see here. So when you select a blob storage, what all options should be available? LRS, GRS, RA-GRS, meaning read access, geo redundancy storage. You see these 3 options. Let's go with LRS. Okay, local redundant storage. So clear friends, all the options which we discussed. Okay. So networking and data production, encryptions, all those things you no need to worry. Just click on review plus create. Because I will discuss remaining things in detail. Create it. Okay, this is how you are going to create a storage account. Okay, so as we discussed, we created the blob storage. So can you see here, when you create blob storage, what all supported service will create? Only blob will come. Only blob will come. So once the storage is created, I will open and show you what things are there inside. Okay, so let it create. So once it is created, we will create the data factory as well. See, our storage is ready. Just click on go to resource. See, when you open only container is nothing but what? Only blob storage. Only you see blob storage. But if you select any other options, it will show files, queues, tables, all those options. I will show you those things tomorrow. You can see here the replication you select is local redundant storage, account type is blob storage, and performance type is standard/hot. Okay, next. We will see how you can create a data factory. Okay, so for that, come here. See, I have this data factory in the favorite list. Just click on data factories. click add to create the data factory. So this is the subscription resource group is, you can say which resource group we have created, Cloud Pandit BI master program, and I want to create this data factory in East US 2. Doesn't matter what service you are creating. I told you need to use three options. One is subscription resource group region. You see, when we are creating storage account, we have selected these three options. When we are creating data factory, I'm giving these three options. Free trial, subscription, in this resource group, in this region I want to create my data factory. You need to give the data factory name. Data factory name is globally unique. If somebody used the same name, you cannot take the same name. This name should be unique. You have to say ADF V2 Cloud Pandit ADF V2. So this name is available. Nobody is used this name. Okay. So there are two types of ADF versions, version 1 and version 2. Version 1 is no longer available. Okay, you should not use the version 1. Whoever is developed V1 pipelines, they all have to migrate to the V2 because there is no support. It is already decommissioned. There is no support from the Microsoft, so we need to go with the V2 only. Okay, Git configuration. Whatever code is generating in ADF pipeline, you are not going to write any code. You are just going to use a UI part, some drag and drops. If you use the drag and drops, if you configure it, in backend code will generate that code. If you want to directly push it into the Azure GitHub, Azure repos, then you can able to like push that code into the Azure DevOps or GitHub. Okay, now these things we will discuss how you can integrate all those things. For now, I will say I don't want to configure this Git, meaning your code will not be moved to anywhere. Your all pipeline code will be there within the data factory. Okay, don't worry if you're not able to understand. So I'm just not checking. Networking, leave it blank. Click tags. Tags is basically key value paste. This particular option also will be available in all the service. Example, if you want to give here created by, okay, Cloud Pandit. Okay, for which environment is creating. The environment is, you can say something dev. Okay, something like that. You are going to put click review plus create. Then so it is going to validate all the details which are provided. If everything is correct, you can click create to create the Azure data factory. Yes, we can use Manohar. So Manohar question is, your blob storage is in India and ADF is created in US. Can we integrate those two? Yes, you can do that. Okay, so you can create a blob storage in different region, ADF in a different region. Okay, our ADF is ready. Just click on go to resource. How to open ADF is, you need to click on open and monitor tab. So you see now how data factory will look like. I will show you. See, you have four options. This is for templates. Quickly, if you want to do anything, you have to use these options. If you want to implement any pipelines, data sets, data flows, everything you can do it here. Monitor, if you execute any pipeline, you are going to monitor those things here. For creating the connections, for creating the schedules, automation things, you need to use these options, but we will discuss in detail in tomorrow's session. So only final thing that is left for today is I need to create the data factory from the PowerShell. I will show you how you can create the data factory from the PowerShell. So just 1 minute, not more than that. Okay, so now you see, click on this, we have a PowerShell here. So I'm not going to explain you what is this modules and all those things. I will just show you how you can create, because in detail I will discuss in upcoming session. It is connecting to PowerShell. Okay, if you want to create new Azure data factory, then you have to say new one. Okay, now you need to type here new one, and you need to use some kind of a module. Those are AZ is one module we have, another one is Azure RM module we have. Any of this you can use. Okay, AZ is the latest one. Let's use the AZ module. Then you need to say what you want to create. You want to create a storage account, you want to create a data factory. I want to create a data factory. Which version you want to create? V2. Okay, data factory V2 I want to create. What is the name you want to give for your data factory? The name I want to give for my data factory is PowerShell ADF. You can say Cloud Pandit, CP PowerShell ADF, Cloud Pandit PowerShell ADF. Okay, this ADF I am creating from the PowerShell from Cloud Pandit. Next, in which resource group you want to put? We know, right? We need to give the resource group mandatory. So now you can say Cloud Pandit BI master program. This is the resource group where I want to launch it. Next, in which location you want to create this particular ADF? I want to launch it in East. Okay, I want to launch it in East US. Okay, so these are the mandatory things. By default, it will take the existing subscription, that is free trial I have. So that subscription it will take automatically. These are the mandatory things. Just click create. So it will create the ADF with this name. Don't worry, Azure is the module, and Azure RM also you can use to create. See, succeeded. The provision state is succeeded. Now successfully it is created. How you will get to know what all Azure Data Factory services you have in your account? So for that, same get -Azure Data Factory V2 I want to get, and I want to select only names of my data factory. Just select names. Got stuck. Let's go and here see, refresh here. See, CP PowerShell ADF came. So you created it from the PowerShell. Okay, you can also check what it got stuck. So what you need to do, you need to restart this. But you can able to get the all the data factory names from the PowerShell, and you can remove the data factories from the PowerShell. So all those things even you can able to do it from the PowerShell. Okay. Any questions, friends? That's all for today. But any questions before we close? Anybody?
So what makes the exact difference by creating ADF through PowerShell or through UiPath?
There is no difference. So that is what happens is in real time, right? So when you are deploying code into other environments like QA and prod, what you need to do is you need to make sure, you need to test whether resource is available or not. If the resource is not available, you need to create that resource, then you need to deploy the code. Okay, clear, Parmesh?
Okay, that can be done in both the ways, right? So using UI or using PowerShell.
How you can do your UI? UI means manual. PowerShell means automation, right? You can put this code in
Okay.
a but even if
Yeah,
you
go
want to
ahead.
do it from UI, it is not possible. But what you can do, you have a different option like ARM templates, Azure Resource Manager templates you can use to create these resources. But from UI, you cannot do. UI means you need to create it manually. For automation, you need to use these scripts. Okay.
Okay.
Now, I don't know why it is getting stuck. Okay, fine. Here you can see the names. Now I got the name. So this is the first ADF we have. Then this is the second ADF I have. Then yeah, this is the third ADF you have. So it is getting all the ADF, right? So if you want to get the ADF details, you can able to get it. Okay, see get Azure data factory. Clear, Parmesh?
Yeah, somewhat. I'm not familiar with this PowerShell concept, so we just got confused. Yeah,
Not
fine.
PowerShell. So you have seen in real time you have three environments, right? So dev like a QA or UAT and prod.
Oh,
So you are
yeah.
deploying this code like you have implemented some pipelines. Those pipeline you will move it into the another environment. When you are moving this code into another environment means you will have a separate data factory. So the data factory, if
Okay.
it is not existed, then you need to create it. How you will create? You will not check daily, right? It's a CI/CD, complete automation. Complete code will be deployed into other environments automatically. So when it is deploying, you need to make sure, you need to test it whether this EDF is available or not. If it is not available, then you need to create it. Then you need to deploy the pipeline code. If it is available, then you don't need to worry. Okay, so example, you are not doing all these checks and you're simply trying to deploy the code, and your other environment data factory is not available, then your that CI/CD process will fail. Okay, if you're not clear, don't worry, we will discuss in detail.
Yeah, got some idea. Thanks, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you all. Thank you.